one thing that I'm complimented on the most is my eyebrows. It seems a little weird. I draw my eyebrows on, and I've always gotten that they look amazing, so I figured that I'd do a small tutorial to help people who are getting started drawing on their eyebrows, aren't very good at it, or just were curious on how the hell I do it. So for this, I'm using the dot method. We'll go into that a little bit. There's 3 things that you will need. One of them, no eyebrows, obviously. Now whether that's covering them up or shaving them off, or if you just have really shitty friends who shave them off when you're drunk, you just need to get rid of them somehow to draw them on. Or you, if you're like some people, they pluck them really, really thin and only have a small start at the beginning. It's good if you have trouble starting them on. I just take mine completely off. You also need a mirror and an eyebrow pencil, or eyeliner works too. I choose pencil over liquid because I've used both. I find that liquid tends to flake and dry, and so you get really, really flaky eyebrows, and it's just bad because they come off really easy. Pencil can be a little smudgy. You can smudge it sometimes on accident, but it's a lot easier to fix than fixing with liquid. So, without further ado, let's get started. First, you need to find where your eyebrows are supposed to start. And to do that, you do a simple trick of find with your nose to go through the inside corner of your eye, and you'll put a dot there. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then you want to follow it and find where your arch is supposed to be. It should be a little bit higher. You can make it as high as you want. And you go from, again, the corner of your nose to the outer corner of your iris. Put it out. And then you want to find out where your eyebrow is supposed to stop. And for that, you again start at the corner of your nose and you go to the outside of your eye. And you don't want to make sure that it doesn't go lower than your first step, because that just looks weird. And there you go. And then you repeat the same on the other eye. You want to make sure that it's even between, because you don't want one eyebrow too high and one not high enough. So make sure you constantly look back and forth just to sort of eyeball it and make sure that they're not too off. And then you have your dots. Fun. A good trick to use to find out if your eyebrows are even or if your dot placement is even is to go with the pencil to the tip of your nose and put it right in between there and focus on that center point and sort of like look out, focus, and make sure that it's even enough distance of space. And so now that we have this, pretty little dots to show where they're supposed to be, and now we go through and we actually draw them on. I like to start at the bottom, and I try to make sure if I'm doing a dot method to start with the bottom portion of this dot, to cross through the middle, and to just end at this dot, because you don't want that dot to be too thick, because that's the end of your eyebrow. You want a nice taper all the way through. So. Now that I have one, I'll go ahead and do the bottom portion of the other one. And now is where I go through and I make my taper. I do it thicker at the start of the eyebrows and go thin out. That way it gives a nice good arch and a good natural taper to it, because otherwise you'll look like you drew your eyebrows on with a crayon, and that's just bad. So we'll start with getting the tapers. Well, we'll start now filling it in so that it actually goes through and looks nice. And there you have it. Nice, easy way to draw on your eyebrows. It does take some practice. Don't get discouraged. It takes a while to build up to be really, really fast and efficient. I personally don't use the dot method anymore. I got to the point that I can just sort of eyeball it and go. But it is a good, helpful starter for, if you need to. A few other pointers that I would have is to always, always, always have a spare eyebrow pencil with you, because you don't want to end up having the New Year's Eve that I did, where you wake up on the other side of town with no eyebrow pencil and you have to draw them on with a Sharpie. Yeah, I should not drink. Anyway, thanks for watching.